Blog Talk Radio.
Liftoff on another episode of Tarot Today Radio. For the past 12 years, we've been bringing you the world of tarot. I'm your host, Dax Carlisle. I'm a tarot advisor and numerologist coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona. And joining me, as always, the fabulous Mary Brown. Mary is the Vice President of the Tarot Guild, Director of Communication, and she is also a professional tarot reader herself. Let's bring on Mary Brown. Happy Saturday, Psychic Saturday.
Happy Psychic Saturday, everybody. How are you? Isn't this fun? I love Saturdays.
Oh, yes. It's a gorgeous day here in Tucson. I'm out on the patio. You may hear some background noise. I'm going to try to mute myself as much as possible during the show here. But it's just gorgeous out here. I'm just like really enjoying myself. Got my cup of coffee. I love my Saturdays with you. And, oh, wow, we got a great show. Not only our normal call-in show and so forth, but we actually have a guest today, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. We have a very special guest today, and I'll tell you, I am so thrilled that he was able to join us for today, because I have been hearing about this man and his work, his beautiful Somnia Tarot, for ever since I think ever since the Kickstarter started for it. So I'm like, wow,
right.
It's finally here. It's finally the time we get to talk to him. But it's so funny, because I was getting ready for the show today, and you know how I like to draw a card of the day and post it in the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. Everybody, if you haven't joined our Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group, you need to do that. We have a page, we have a group. Like the page, join the group, join the conversation. But the card that I got was just like, I don't know, it just really seemed like the perfect card to keep up. The messages, keep going and don't give up. And I just thought, like, wow, that fits like so many different things that are happening now in our world. And, I was looking last night through Nicholas's website, for the Somnia Tarot, and I was just thinking, like, my gosh, how do you do all the work that went into
right.
this? and then I draw that card. I'm like, keep going, don't give up. So I'm going to have to ask him about that, if that was part of his thing. But for everybody listening, the message with this, and this card, absolutely beautiful, comes from the Great Eastern Oracle by Rasuli. And it's about reaching that moment, where you're working on something and you kind of have that last mountain to climb, and you're like, oh, do I still have anything left in the tank? Can I still get through it? And so if anybody's kind of having that kind of moment where it feels like, oh, the goal hasn't been reached yet, and they see what lies ahead and they're wondering if they've got that energy, take that as a message, from the universe to, like, don't give up. You can do it. You can do anything that you set your heart and mind to.
Awesome. Well, that dovetails nicely into the numerology today and the card that I got as well. it's a 3-day, the 12th. 1 plus 2 is 3. The month is 3, and then of course the world year number is 6 from 2022. So if you add that all up and reduce it down, 1 plus 2 is, you get 12, and 1 plus 2 is 3 again. So that's that creativity and communication number, and actually 3 and 6 as well as 9 are all part of the creativity subgroup of numbers. So today is the day, and I think it's perfect because it's on a Saturday. Today is the day that you want to start that YouTube channel, that you want to start writing that book or get to it, that tarot deck, that you have on the back burner. This is the day to do it. But I also got the 8 of Cups for the card of the day. So there's some releasing that needs to be done. You need to let go of the things that you're not really ever going to get to that are on the back burner. Touched it in 6 months. You got to let go. Let go of a lot of these things so you can move onward and upward. So that's what I got today, card of the day and the numerology today. I also did want to mention, because I didn't do it yet at the beginning of the show here, is we will be taking your calls later in the show after the interview, and you can dial in now and get your spot in the caller queue, because we take the calls in the order that they come in. You want to grab that spot now. 714-816-4628. You can call in to talk about anything on your mind or get a mini reading from us as well. 714-816-4628. As soon as you get through, press 1 on your dial pad. So that lets us know you want to be live on air with us. And then you can also join us in the chat room at thetarotguild.com/chat. Or if you're on our website, thetarotguild.com, just click chat in the navigation there. Join us in the chat room. You can ask questions in there. You can ask for a mini reading right in the chat room. And by the way, while you're on the Tarot Guild site, there's a search at the top of every page. So type in there Somnia or Somnia Tarot and do a search, because I did an article a few weeks back, and it's got images of Nicholas's deck. So you could be looking at those while we're chatting with him. Speaking of chatting with him, Mary, should we bring Nicholas on?
Yes, let's do it.
All righty. Nicolas Bruno.
Hey,
welcome
guys, how's it going?
Show.
Thank you so much.
Welcome
thank you for having me.
Show. Absolutely. This is so much
cool.
fun. So I'll tell you, the first thing that I thought, and like kind of when I was talking about, the card of the day today, like I just thought, like, how much work went into this. This wasn't just, a lot of work goes into any tarot deck. We're talking like 78 cards, right?
Right.
So it's not like just doing one painting or one photo or something, but you really go beyond. You're not just taking photos. You're a conceptual photographer, and
Correct.
Can you kind of let our listeners know, like, kind of what does that mean? What goes into making a photo? Do you make the props that we see in it? Do you use real people? How do you get it to happen to make these incredible, even surrealistic photos that you make?
Yeah, absolutely. So with my craft, what I'm doing, I have an art studio based in Long Island, New York, and that's where I make all the props, the costumes, the sketches, all for my photographs. And my process basically starts with my dream journal, and I log all the experiences that I have during sleep paralysis, which is a sleep disorder that I've had for the majority of my life. I'll sometimes wake up, my body's frozen, and I'm dreaming while I'm awake, and I see these figures walking through my room. Sometimes I'll have like a woman in a dress hovering above my bed, and she's like shrieking in my ear. It's all very terrifying, and I document all these experiences. And once I have all of these documentations in my journal, I start making props, costumes, imagining what these characters might look like, and I go out into the marshlands, shorelines of Long Island, and I set the stage for these surreal photographs. So I'm not just taking the photographs, I'm also using self-portraiture to make them. where I pretty much have my hand in every part of my creation, where my camera's set up on a tripod, it's shooting photographs, and then I call it a performance in front of the camera, where I'm changing my costume, I'm moving it to different spots, and once I have all the images that I need, I piece them all together, not in like a cut and paste sort of way, but more of like a layering process, and that allows me to work by myself and create some surreal, crazy photographs on a really low budget by myself.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really is like DIY to the next level, right?
Yes,
I mean, you're how did you even learn how to make costumes? I mean, like, where does that come into photography class, right? Like,
so,
are you
right.
sewing?
When I was in high school, when I started suffering from sleep paralysis every single night, I had an art teacher who encouraged me to explore that journal and start turning these journal entries into photographs in order to talk about what I was going through, because I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought maybe my house was haunted, or if maybe I was possessed by like a demon or something like that. I grew up in a Greek Orthodox household, which was very superstitious, so it was only logical to think that maybe my house is haunted or something is happening in the spirit world. But it turned out when I made these photographs as a teenager and put them online, people reached out to me from all around the world and told me that it's a sleep disorder that you have. And I use art now as my therapy for that. And I speak to people around the world and help them use art as a therapy as well. So just out of desperation, really, I was making these props and costumes just by hand, like you said, DIY, just learning how to do it, watching YouTube videos, asking my grandma how to sew. All these little crafts help me do what I do, which is like a one-man production where I'm taking old materials, things off the side of the road, repurposing them into new props and interesting things to include in my photographs.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
That's amazing. Well, how did it go from that, which guy, like the saying goes, right? Was it Plato or whatever that said, necessity is the mother of invention? That's kind of what it reminds me of. Like you had a reason to learn how to make all of that stuff. But how did it go from that in doing photography? How does the tarot figure into it?
So when I was I was 5 or 6 years old when I used to stay a lot at my grandma's house, and she had all of my great-grandmother's belongings, and she had this storage room in her basement with all her old cool antique things. And I remember that I found her tarot deck on one of those shelves when I was younger, and I remember looking through it and exploring it, and she took it away from me because she's like, no, don't touch that, just out of superstition, and she hid it. And as soon as she went back upstairs, I'd go and grab it off the top of the shelf and look at it again. So that curious memory always stuck with me. And when the pandemic hit, I was really, really nervous because I'm a self-employed artist. All of my galleries were shutting down. All of my income streams were shutting down. And I thought, honestly, I just thought the world was going to end at some point. So I was like, I'm just going to do what I love and into a project and really immerse myself in whatever I can do while this is all happening and go out doing what I love. And I stumbled upon, I was just kind of thinking about those old memories, and that one came to mind. So I started researching tarot a little bit, looking at the archetypes. I came across a book called Young in Tarot by Sally Nichols, I believe. And it was just amazing to go through and see these archetypes and then make parallels with what was happening in my dream journals. And I found this really cool serendipitous thread that was woven between them, and I just really went crazy and started sketching and diving in. Before I knew it, I had sketched 78 photographs the premise for 78 photographs, and I had the time to do it because the world was shut down. I just went into nature, and I started building props in these costumes, bringing them out into the middle of the ocean, and not the middle of the ocean, but the middle of the shoreline in the ocean, and setting up scenes and depicting death on I actually used a sculpture of a horse instead of a real horse for the horses in the series. and I shrouded myself, and I painted a big flag. So, yeah, a lot of weird things happened.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the horses. And also just, going back to what you were saying, because before you said it, I was thinking, like, man, if it was me, I probably would have thought it was like a haunting, to have that kind of sleep paralysis experience. But you said you hear from people around the world who have the same sleep paralysis situation. Is it always like that, where you're seeing these images? Because these images are otherworldly. Like, I can't imagine seeing that in my room, what I would do.
So what's amazing about I actually set up an anonymous submission form where people could send me their dreams without feeling like they had to reveal who they were. And I had thousands of entries from people all around the world. And what I ended up doing was going through and finding dreams that are almost exactly the same from people either in Germany, in Spain, U.S., Canada. There's this underlying thread of this common experience with certain characters, like the Hatted Man or the Old Hag or an incubus or like shadow-like hands grabbing at your throat, that transcends culture. It's something that's happening to people around the world. And for me, I want to explore that and figure out, why is this the case? You can go back to as early as the 1800s. There are documentations of the Old Hag and paintings of the incubus sitting on people's chests. So it really baffles me that humans across the world, no matter what language they speak or where they're from, all see the same thing. I just consider that kind of one of my missions, to figure out why, or at least entertain it and figure out where it goes from there.
Right. Well, Dax and I did an episode of this show on shadow people, and we talked about didn't we talk about the hat? What was it? The Hat Man, the man with the hat. And just
we did.
Researching to do that show, it was kind of amazing how it's like a thing that not just one person thought of. I was like, oh my gosh, it's everywhere. Do you use tarot like for yourself? Like, now that you have created your own deck, do you do readings with it?
To be honest, I'm not a reader myself, but I love being a tarot historian, and I love diving into like the world's oldest decks and going onto like archives, all the archives of the museums, and researching the traditions and comparing and contrasting how people use symbolism throughout history. I'm a total nerd about that and about the art styles used to create them. So that's more my world, and I love to work with people who do readings in order to get feedback. Like, for example, when I was making this series, I didn't just make pictures because they looked cool. I made sure to do my research, consult my friends who did readings from all around the U.S., and I sent them my images as I was making them to ensure that I was communicating tradition effectively and correctly. I wanted to make sure that people can not just see my deck as an artwork, but more of a tool to use to dive into their subconscious and really pull out some beautiful thoughts, and maybe even dive into their shadow selves as well.
Yeah, well, that's something that, like, I mean, my gosh, Dax, you and I talk about it all the time, like how many decks are out there and how many actually seem like, people really, like they really cared about the reader, in the experience of the fact that, these are the tools of our trade,
Right.
And you put this out initially through Kickstarter, is that correct?
This was actually an independently run crowdfunding campaign that I did by myself on my site, and I was blown away by the support of my friends and the people who shared it, and the people who just appeared, and they were like, I believe in this project, even if it's not on a major crowdfunding site. People came and they helped me bring it to life, and I just remember sitting there just flabbergasted, thinking, wow, I can't believe that all these people believe in the project and they trusted me to do it, and I'm so thankful for everybody who did support it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it can be done.
So, yeah, I mean, it's like, wow, that can happen. because we think that we have to be on like a big platform and all of those things. And so what was that? How long did it take to get funded? Kind of, can you talk a little bit about like what that experience was of getting it out there?
Sure. Yeah. So I originally made the entire series before I crowdfunded the deck itself. And the way I was able to do this was by going low budget, making the props, using props from my old photographs that I've created, different costumes, and reimagining them or stitching one together or mix matching them. So I tried to be as resourceful as I could during the creation of the project. I started in March of 2020 and ended, I think I finished the last photograph on the end of November 2020. And I launched the Kickstarter campaign, just the crowdfunding campaign on my website March 10th. Actually, the 1-year anniversary was a few days ago.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, thank you. So that whole thing, I just built my own website, and I really just hoped for the best on the launch day, and it worked out. I don't know. It was definitely serendipitous, and I know people can do it. I'm just blown away by how, there are people out there who will believe in you if you put out the work and you really invest yourself in it and you share what you're creating with everyone. They're going to be invested too. So it's definitely worth a shot.
Yeah, and that's a great message. It's kind of goes along with that don't give up, keep going thing. And that's
Absolutely.
One thing I did want to – did you ever have that moment? Like, did it ever seem monumental? Because it kind of feels like, from what you're describing, this whole thing just really flowed. Like you were supposed to do this.
I felt that urge. I felt something pushing me to do it. And, I mean, it was extremely difficult because I normally only make maybe one image a month or one image every 2 months. But for me to create 78 photographs over the whole score of a year was unknown to me. So I really pushed myself. And every day that I wasn't photographing, I was making a costume. Every day I wasn't making a costume, I was sketching out the new idea or revising how I was going to portray a certain symbol. And unfortunately, we had the pandemic, but it was sort of a bittersweet thing for me where it gave me the opportunity to go out and create without interruption. I was basically just spending the entire time out in the woods or in the nature preserves of Long Island creating these photographs.
It's kind of surprising to me
That's
that
dedication.
Yeah,
it was a lot of work, but worth it.
Yeah, did you eat, sleep, anything, else? Because that sounds like, just a short amount of time for that. Most people that we talk to, Dax, don't you think most of the deck creators, it's usually like, 2 years, 3 years. It's not like that short of a period of time. That's amazing.
I probably would have benefited from a longer period of time, but I really wanted to finish it within that gap of a year in order to I had an exhibition of every single photograph that I created that February. And that was kind of, I gave myself that deadline, and I wanted to make sure I hit it. So every day, waking up, I was eat, breathe, sleep, tarot, just sketching, figuring out what I need to do for each photograph. I would set up like 4 photographs a day. If I couldn't get one in, I would do it the next morning or maybe even stay overnight in my car for some of the shots and shoot it as soon as the sun came up. It was just like my mission. I definitely look a little insane probably to the people who are walking their dogs, and I have a gigantic plastic horse covered in a shroud, and they're looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, just creating some artwork." They're like, "Oh, okay." It's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, the other thing that strikes me too, and this is something I thought about a lot over the years, it's like this idea of when you put something out there, a work of art, even if it's like something written, whatever form of art it is, it seems like it's that kind of thing where you're trying to hit this target of being able to do something that's like unique, personal, and yet at the same time has a universal appeal to it. And what I thought looking at your work is how personal it must be. How personal it must be to share these images that are like straight out of your subconscious, because they're coming from your dream journals, you know, where you're documenting your dreams that you have. And have you ever kind of had a moment where you kind of questioned, like, how much to share, or, you know, were you ever shy about being able to be that? I think it's bold, basically, to do it. But were you ever?
You know, it's especially at the beginning of my journey of creating. When I was a teenager, I was so nervous to tell people about what I was seeing during the dreams, because I didn't think they would understand. And until I started posting those photographs, as soon as I put it up, I kind of felt like a weight off of my chest. I consider it a therapy, where you create, whether it be a photograph, piece of music, a poem, a stanza that you've written, and once you share that and put that into the public space, there will be somebody who will resonate with it. And I often am happy that I did it, because it really gave me courage to kind of just analyze who I am as a person. It allowed me to speak more about what I go through, and also band with others who are going through the same situation. So it's kind of, it hurts at first to put out something that is deeply personal, but you can only benefit yourself and others. That's like the main thing for me. I want to help, especially young kids, I want them to see my art and say, I can turn my negative situation to something positive through a photograph or maybe a piece of music. I think it's just extremely important for us to use art, music, dance, whatever we do, as that transition period from something negative to something positive.
I got a question for you from the chat room, actually, Nicholas. It's from Jason. So he's wondering, you know, now that you've gone through all of this, do you feel like the sleep paralysis, the dreams, all those sleep issues, do you feel like it's medical or something otherworldly, or a shadow person? You know, supernatural, medical. What do you think's going on?
That's an awesome question, Jason. So when I had my exhibition, I actually met a sleep doctor, and he helped me get a sleep study done, which allowed me to figure out that I have an atypical form of narcolepsy, and that is what causes me to go into these dream states. And a lot of people go into sleep paralysis for different reasons, whether it be the atypical narcolepsy that I have. It could be sleep apnea. It could just be the way that they're sleeping and maybe they constrict their airway. It could be stress. But no matter what is triggering that, you're entering in this space between the conscious and the subconscious. It's this very, very strange augmented reality that you enter during sleep paralysis, where you're still here in the physical world, but you're tapped into some other part of the subconscious that we can maybe not even access ourselves, and you have this brief moment or encounter with the unknown. And I think for me, I want to consider it something medical, but there is that spiritual aspect of it where I still am just floored by how confusing it can be and how real it can be at the same time, where you really feel like this shadow figure is standing right next to your bed. I don't think I'll ever know, and I don't know if we'll know within the next 100 years, but again, my mission is to bring and spread awareness to the sleep disorder through my photography, through my tarot deck, and I hope that we can find a way to uncover these mysteries, just either through dialogue or through creating art.
Mary, that might be where the shadow people and all these other phenomenon are coming from, and it could be like maybe a bridge to other dimensions through the subconscious.
I can totally resonate with that.
Yeah, because it's like because there's a lot of, people that, consider themselves mediums, or that they're having experiences with other dimensions, and a lot of times it is just that, we call it the twixt in between, that kind of weird kind of thing. It's like you're not awake, but you're not asleep kind of time, and a lot of times they'll relate it to things like, twilight or dawn, just those moments between night and day where people feel like the veil is thin, so to speak, where you can have messages from other dimensions come through and stuff. And it's there's something going on in between in that space, I think, and I don't know. I mean, I think our subconscious is happening. I'm not sure what it is. I hope we find out, but maybe it is. A lot of the people that feel they're seeing shadow people, there's like this difference, right? There's like a little bit of a thing that happens where I think it's so important that you're sharing your journey because, one, you're giving people a sense of like, hey, maybe you could try making art to help you deal with this. You're giving them kind of a thing that might be helpful to them, a tool, suggesting, art as a therapy for this. But there's a lot of people that I think are having these kind of experiences and then not even connecting it at all to it being like a physical issue. They really do think that they're, having like an astral plane experience or something like that. It's kind of fascinating. And maybe everybody's right. Maybe all these things are happening at the same time.
It's like it almost feels like sometimes you're passing into the afterlife in some of these experiences because you really feel like you're about to die when you're in one. And I'm wondering if that's the case where maybe it's triggering part of our brain that maybe activates when we're about to pass away. I don't really know. That's like a theory of mine. But exploring the medical aspects of it and also using the art as a tool, it not only makes you feel better, it allows you to go in and make connections between, like you said, like maybe I've seen this character before or maybe I felt a certain way before. So when you're in that experience, you can become more cognizant of what's going on and make a connection, which not only allows you to leave the experience quicker, it also allows you to maybe confront the experience with less fear. Like, for example, sometimes I'll stay in an experience just to learn a little bit more, even though it is a little bit terrifying. I try to break that fear cycle just by using recognition or like I've seen this hatted man before or I've seen this woman in a dress before. So maybe I can try to ask her a question subconsciously. And it's proven to be pretty interesting. Sometimes I'll get a response, sometimes I won't. But it's really just been an exploration for me now.
Yeah, that's fascinating because it's almost like I do shamanic practicing, shamanic journeying. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And, kind of that's the thing is, usually you listen to like a drumming track, right? And you're trying to get into this sort of other state of mind, a meditative state, you could say, so that you can venture to the upper world, the lower world, the middle world. That's like kind of the, the way it's set up in the worldview of this practice.
Okay.
And it is always about when you encounter, say, your power animal, right? I don't know if I'm sounding totally out there.
No, not at all. No, I'm totally open.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay, I'm weird.
No, I'm open to everything.
Okay, good.
Yeah, of course.
But it is that thing of like, yes, if you encounter things, talk to them. Find out why they're there. Find out, why are they coming to you? And it's such a valuable thing to share with people because ultimately, yeah, exactly. Facing that fear because sometimes, hopefully a lot of these things aren't too fearful when you're doing shamanic practicing or else, people probably wouldn't do it too much. But you want to be able to like have that, like you can show up in your own dream. Like it's your dream is how I guess I kind of look at it. It's That's like, awesome. Hey, I'm here. I should have the right to say something about it instead of being
I love that.
victim of it, Like, wow. So it's funny, but all of this it's very similar to a lot of things that I think, we do with tarot, that we do in the metaphysical space. I mean, we're always Dax. You're the one that's always talking about
hypnosis.
Yes, he's really into hypnosis and programming dreams. So we always tell people to keep a dream journal.
Yeah, that's
huge. Keep a pad and paper
especially
next to your nightstand. Oh, I got a question. Nicholas, what's your, if it's okay with you, what is your strangest experience?
Strangest experience? I want to say, I think my first encounter with the old hag was the most strange and terrifying at the same time. I remember waking up and feeling a presence in the room, and I couldn't move my body, and I couldn't really figure out where it was coming from. And out of the left-hand corner of the room, this woman emerged, and she floated upward and turned horizontally, like as if she was looking down at me, and started screeching in my ear. And I freaked out, and I was able to leave. I ran down the hall, I ran downstairs, and I was in my kitchen. It felt like I was awake, but I got sucked back upward, back into my body, and I was still in the experience, and she was still there. And then I woke up for real, and I freaked out. It was. I think I was like 17 years old when that happened. And
it's like you astral traveled to the kitchen, but then was sucked back to your body.
Exactly, and that theme of I don't really know what you would call it. Would it be an out of body experience, astral projection? That continually happens to me now, especially lately, maybe this year, where I'm actually leaving. I'm fighting back against some of the experiences, and I'm able to leave and go out my door, and then I end up back in my body, and I don't know what I'm doing in that moment.
Definitely O.B.Es. That's an O.B.E.
Is there a name for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, out of body experience, O.B.E.
Okay,
yeah.
O.B.E. Okay. So, yeah, that's been happening. I don't know. I think it's because I've become comfortable and I'm so used to the routine of this happening to me that when I'm not sitting there and being inquisitive, when I just want it to end and I need a good night's sleep, I fight back so hard that I guess I just leave my body in a way. It's definitely bizarre because it feels real. Like I'm able to touch the door handle. If I somehow see my dog in the hallway, he always sleeps outside my door. I'm able to feel his fur, and I don't know.
Wow.
I can't explain it, but it's been happening frequently.
Have you studied astral projection or any of that to like kind of see like if there's any?
Not academically, more just accounts, but.
Right, because I was going to say, I know like people, there's a lot of different, my gosh, people have written a lot of different books about them, but there's this idea of like there being like a cord, right, that attaches us to our body when we're astrally projecting, that we can kind of use that to like get back in case we're worried about not getting, like I always wondered like what happens if you can't get back in, what happens then? It's probably not something good. I don't know.
My most recent one from last week, I tried to find the boundary where I actually exited my front door to my front yard and I basically hit this like, I want to call it like an invisible barrier, and I like bounced off of it, and it shot me backward back to waking up in my bed, which felt very strange.
Hey, but that's good though. So there's like some sort of like, fail safe on this whole thing.
I think so.
I hope so. Right?
Yeah. I know.
I don't want
to. I haven't died yet, so it's good.
Yeah, it's like the dome. Remember that TV show? Like there's a dome that you can't hit. Well, why don't we make sure that everybody knows where to go to see your work, to get the Somnia Tarot deck, and is this this is not. It wasn't just a tarot deck because I get the newsletter. I signed up for the newsletter some time ago, and you've got spread cloths and everything else. I guess you made those too because you know how to do everything now. You're a one-man band.
Pretty much. But I can't not thank the people who helped me throughout the whole project. For example, like my sister, my girlfriend, and my close friends were all the female models during the photographs, and they were totally awesome. And the people who helped me out, like, for example, during the Hanged Man, I had 2 friends with me to make sure I didn't get stuck upside down and pass out. So I wasn't entirely alone for everything, but I'm really thankful for their help. But to find my stuff, you can search somniatarot.com, and on there you can see the tarot deck. I wrote an entire book on all the images, and it has the images within the book too. I just released the ebook as well, and I've created a bunch of products for the universe of the Somnia Tarot, like spread cloths. There's a letter opener. I'm exploring a pendulum design right now, and I made these wands that are really cool. They look like candelabras, but they're made out of wood, and there's different colors of them. They're pretty cool. You can look up Somnia Tarot on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, which is Nicolas Bruno, and it's NicolasBruno, and that's where I post most of my updates and my new projects. I have a new video documentary coming out soon, probably the end of the spring. It'll be out. It's like a 10-minute long experimental film, so it'll be cool.
Oh, wow. I like the Two of Swords T-shirt, just by the way, and the letter opener idea is really cool. The letter opener idea, from the Three of Swords.
Adorable.
That's adorable. Yeah.
They're a match of the actual swords that I used within the photographs. I have one of the swords here on my desk. The one cool thing about it is I have all the props from the series, and I get to live with them and have them part of my home decor. It looks a little strange, but I enjoy it.
You're like living in a tarot deck.
Pretty much. I basically lived through the archetypes of the tarot, like becoming the Hanged Man or the Messenger of Death. Like it was just crazy to sit on the throne of the Hierophant and see what it's like to be what they were. It was just a truly unique experience, and I hope that everybody enjoys the photographs that I've made.
Absolutely.
Have you tried like grounding meditations, things like that?
I have. I'm not versed in meditation. The one thing that I do is martial arts, and I really enjoy doing that, and that helps me ground myself. Whether it be like historical European swordplay, I've done some eskrima, I do kickboxing, I used to do wrestling. So like I'm very much into the martial arts aspect of things, and for me that's the way I like to meditate rather than sitting. I can't sit still. I'm always running around.
Yeah.
So
moving meditation. That's what I always called it.
Yeah. I love to do Tai Chi, and to me that's exactly
awesome.
sort of what it is, and it's that sense of energy flow and just kind of, I think anytime we can combine, some sort of physical element to, anything that we're trying to do meditatively, I think that grounds us even more, especially if we can do it outside, right? Because we're in nature.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you so very much for sharing, just such a unique experience.
Yes, thanks, Nicolas.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was really a unique opportunity to talk to you both and explore some of the things that normally I don't get to talk about. It feels good to be around people who understand. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you got to come back. You got to come hang out at the guild and check it out. We should. Yeah, we'll stay in touch, and thanks for just sharing your story and in such a huge way as to like share the imagery of your dreams and everything. I mean, that's incredibly,
personal.
It's incredibly personal, and just it's a beautiful thing that that you were open to doing that, because I know that that's going to just resonate with so many people, and they're not going to feel alone. They're not going to feel like I'm the only, like they're the only one having these experiences. So that's so incredibly cool. We need more of that in this world. Too. All right, and we'll make sure we have your links out there so everybody can go to your site and check you out on social media. And again, thanks so much, and you got to come back.
I'm in.
Let us know let us know about the film. Yeah, we'll totally do that.
I'll be sharing information soon.
Awesome.
They're still doing the rough cut, so once I have the final release link, I don't know where we're going to be sharing it, what platform yet, but it's going to be very interesting. I tried to weave in a little bit of my tarot inspiration into the film too. It's mostly about my sleep paralysis work, but they're hand in hand, and I think everybody will really enjoy it.
Oh, cool.
Great.
Well, we'll help you blow it up and put the word out.
Thanks. That's awesome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Nicholas.
Bye.
Bye.
Boy, that was awesome.
Wow. It's like my mind is blown, you know. I'm like, whoa, because there was this, and it's so funny too, in a sense, when he was talking about like the hatted man and the old hag and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is
these are
right
common
up our alley.
experiences. It's right up our alley, but also, you know, he's not alone in this. I mean, this is like every culture, it's global phenomenon going on. Even the shadow people.
It's fascinating. And can you imagine, like, living with all those tarot props around all the time? It's like literally like living in a tarot deck.
Well,
I love it.
I used to always be big into swords, so I would love that aspect of it, you know. But yeah, interesting connections, because you and I have the martial art connection too. It's very fascinating.
He's our kind of people.
Mm-hmm. You know, throw that in with anything like that with tarot, and then, wow, you know, hello, you're my best bud.
Hello. Where have you been all our lives?
Yeah. So we're going to go to the phone lines, but before we go to the phone lines, let's tell everybody what's coming up on the radio network.
Yes. Well, we've got a pretty cool week lined up here on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. Our next show is actually going to be tomorrow. It's the Magic Universe Show with your host, Sharona Rapsick, and she is a guest on, Scott Martin, talking about bringing the tarot to life. Call into that show for free tarot readings and open lines. And then after that is the Wisdom of the Soul show on Monday, March 14th, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Janice Fuchs, which will be followed by Spiritual Guidance Radio with Angelic Channel and healer Catherine Hahn, who's going to be giving free on-air guidance. And then Dax and I will be back next Saturday, March 19th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, with the Tarot Today radio show. And we're going to have a guest, Lisa Robertson, talking about her Cirque du Tarot deck, plus taking your calls for free tarot mini readings. And you can find all of our shows listed by going to psychictalk.net/upcoming. Back to you, Dax.
Back to me. Hey, I did want to mention that, so we're doing the radio show here, and Amazon delivers a package, and it's Ciro Marchetti's Tarot Grand Lux. I got the deck in the mail.
I love that deck. I have that deck. Hey, we should do a review of that deck, since now we both have it.
Let's do a tag team review of that. We just did Tarot Disassembled, and people seem to really like that. So let's do that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
You know what I'm going to be doing after the show, right?
Playing with your new cards, reading the book, looking at the deck. It's impossible, right? You know, that's happened to me a few times, where it's like the Amazon package shows up and I'm in the middle of making dinner or something, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, I'm going to open it. But no, you got to wait. Got to wait till we're done with the show. Well, that's what I'm doing.
I'm sitting here on the patio and doing the radio show, and every once in a while I'm glancing to my left at this chair next to me with the Tarot Grand Lux sitting on it, all wrapped up in its shrink wrap and everything, and I'm like, I want to reach over and open it up. But I'm going to wait. because we've got callers, and they've been hanging on patiently. We're going to take some calls, see who's out there. And, hey, I just want to let everybody know, as you mentioned, we have a show tomorrow, Magic Universe. So if we don't get to your call today, you can call in tomorrow, and you'll definitely be able to get on with Sharona. So there you go. Let's see. Who's been waiting the longest? It looks like area code 229. Okay, everybody has to wake up now. We're going to the phone line.
Hello.
229. Hello. Caller,
Hello.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, yes, my name is Melvin. I'm calling from Georgia.
Hi, Melvin.
Hi, Melvin.
What's going on?
Hi. Yes, I have some issues with, I'm on dialysis, and I go 3 times a week. And I'm having some issues with the nurses and the staff in there. I was on the machine, and I never, ever clotted. I was having some blood clots, and I needed more heparin to flush it out. But this nurse, I don't think she likes me, but I just want to know, is they doing something to my machine or making me feel this way? Because all my blood work and all my test results are perfect. And I'm on the list for kidney transplant. I do have a GoFundMe page on my Facebook page. But I'm just want to know, is the nurses and the techs are doing something to the machine to cause me to clot up? Because that never ever happened. And it's been going on for me all this week, Steve.
Wow, I just had a friend dealing with blood clots, and it could be really bad. What are you getting, Mary? You getting anything on that?
I'm still shuffling.
Okay.
Hold on.
I thought you were all
second.
ready.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm already shuffling. Let's see what comes up on this. I already called
the main office and report them twice of some negligence there that I, didn't like.
Right. I'm not getting anything that's indicating okay, so from, the question you're asking, it's like, is somebody doing something sneaky? Are they doing something they shouldn't be doing, right? That's kind of what we're looking for.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm not really seeing that, but the main card that I get here, well, there's 2, and that is the 2 of Pentacles, and that can be a card of multitasking, okay? So it could be just nobody's trying to do anything to harm you, but maybe it's like their attention is a little split. Maybe they're trying to do 2, focus on more than one thing at a time. And then also the 8 of Swords comes up here. And so that can be, sometimes when people aren't, they're not seeing it. Like they're not noticing something they should notice. But none of this indicates anybody doing anything intentional. So that's good. Because you don't want to be someplace where you're
right.
In a medical facility and somebody's trying to harm you. So I'm not seeing that anybody's trying to do that. Let's see what Dax is getting.
Okay.
I kind of agree with you because I'm not getting any negative cards. I would be getting cards indicating that if that was what was going on. Melvin, have you ever had anything like this in the past? Any kind of issue with clotting?
No, sir. No. I had a port in my chest, and they took the port out of my chest. They were using it for dialysis. But now I have a fistulogram in my arm. And the way they are sticking me, the blood flow is it's clogging up. So I went and got a scan to make sure I had good, clean blood flow. And the other doctor told me it was great. I had good blood flow, but he said maybe they was going too deep, sticking me with the needle.
Okay.
And so
Could be.
I told the nurse, I told
so what I want to say is, just that the main thing, your main question, it's nothing on purpose, and I don't really even see negligence coming up. What the cards are saying is to look at the chemistry. I'm getting multiple cards about looking at the chemistry. So you might have to have a different hematologist look at the chemistry. And remember, we got to put the disclaimer out there. We're not medical doctors. We can't tell you what to do. We can't even tell you what's going on because we're not allowed. Okay, but I can tell you that I'm getting chemistry. And so this involves what's going on in the blood, and hey, there's no reason why you can't get a second opinion from another hematologist. And number two, if you feel really, really uncomfortable, there's more than one place in your area there has to be that does, dialysis. You don't have to stay at that place if you feel that uncomfortable about it. But I would start with having a doctor, even your current doctor, but if you have a hematologist, if you don't have one, get a hematologist. Have them look at the blood.
I have
because that's what's showing up in the cards is it's chemistry. Chemistry keeps popping up in my head. Chemistry.
Well, do you see? Yes, sir. Do you all see this going to continue to happen? Because I did get checked, and they X-rayed it and they scanned my arm, but they stick me at. But will I have this issue anymore when I go back? Because my machine kept going off, and I'm thinking it may be the machine. It's something that they'd have done, but I do know that I'm supposed to be on K2, and they've been putting me on K3 and giving me more protein back in my body, and it causing me to that could cause me to have a heart attack or a stroke. And so they had to switch me back to K2, and so they cleared that up. But do you all see me clotting again when I go back on my or any other day?
I think it's still a possibility, to be honest. I don't want to give bad news, but hey, when I'm looking at it, it looks like it could happen again, and so you got to get to the root, and I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that from looking at tarot cards.
Yeah.
All I can do is give you surrounding information, and like I told you, the thing that was popping in my head was chemistry. I don't know what that means. I'm not a hematologist. So you need to, I would get a second opinion. I'd go to a different hematologist and have everything looked at, all the blood work looked at once again. It can't hurt, to do that. But
I know. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what I'm saying is that I drew more cards, Mary, specifically for his second question there, and what I'm getting is that unless something changes, yes, it's a possibility for it to happen again, because it doesn't look like it's been cleared up, whatever the issue was.
Yeah.
And we got to leave it there, Melvin, because we got a lot of calls. We got to move on here.
Okay,
go ahead,
sorry.
Mary.
But thanks. No, it's okay. Thanks for calling. But make sure that you do talk to somebody, because that's mainly what I pulled on this was like two pages. Pages to me are about communication. So you need to keep telling them, to advocate for yourself. We always have to advocate for ourselves. Okay. Thanks so much for calling, Melvin.
Thanks, Melvin. And we're going to go now to the next caller that's been waiting the longest, area code 310.
I kept looking at you.
Caller, what's your name?
Worried about what was going on with you, but I didn't want to.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you there? Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Vince, calling from New York.
Hi, Vince.
Hi, Vince.
All right.
How are you?
Good. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I'm starting a new job on Monday. I was supposed to start last week, and they pushed it back a week, and no one notified me. So anyway, there's only one little problem with this job. in November, I think it was actually December, I got fired from a job that, because they said I did some unsafe act. I was blamed for something I didn't do. And even though I told them I'd be willing to sign an affidavit and take a lie detector test, they believed the other guy and not me. So I was fired. And this was a metal container company. And the problem is, with this new job that I'm starting, it's a huge brewery. And the metal container company that I worked at is owned by this brewery. So it's a whole new division and a whole new area that I'm working at. So I'm wondering, they know that I worked at this company, but they didn't bring in the question about whether I got fired or left or anything like that. So I'm wondering if they're going to find out and if they're going to let me go because of that, or if they're going to give me a shot, or what's going to happen with that.
Are they going to give you a chance, even if that does come up, right?
Right.
Okay. Dax, whose turn is it to go first? I can't remember. Is it mine,
me.
yours, what?
It's me, and I'm getting that you're in the midst of a transition, and it definitely looks like you're beyond that now. So I don't think it's really going to be an issue. That doesn't mean it's clear sailing, because ahead I'm seeing, maybe some sleepless nights over, this new job. But it has to do with the actual, what you're going to be doing now, not this past stuff. I think you're past that. I think it's not going to come up, or if it does come up, they're still going to give you a chance. I think, if anything, it's going to be how you feel about what you're doing in the new position, if there's any issues. That's what it's actually going to be. But let's see what Mary's getting. She might have some additional info on this. What you getting, Mary?
Well, yeah, I kind of agree with the idea of being past it. I get the Tower card, but it comes up in the past position, and it seems like going forward, it's really like the focus is on like a new skill set. So I don't know what it is about this new job that you're doing, but it seems like you do like develop like additional skills in doing it, and it's something new. Seems like it's something that you really haven't done before that ends up coming up on the job. That might be what is maybe a little nerve wracking at first, but then you get the hang of it. So I don't think that this. What happened in the past is going to haunt you, basically, in this job. I think it's about, focusing on, like, this new chapter instead.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling in, Vince.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for calling, Vince. Have a great weekend.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we got to move quickly, see if we can get through a couple more of these, maybe. There's area code 919 is the next caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is Kay, and I'm calling from Georgia.
Hi, Kay.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the call. I've enjoyed it thus far.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Did you listen to our interview with Nicolas?
Yes. I've had that Astro, I'm glad you put a name to it, because I didn't know that. I've experienced that, so I didn't know what that was. It was very frightening.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
We didn't even realize it. What did you want to chat about? Did you want a mini reading?
Yes, I wanted to ask about career opportunities. I have been applying for different jobs and had a few interviews, but just wondering, do you see something coming along soon?
Okay, I think it's my turn to go first here. So do we see anything coming along soon as far as job opportunities? You've been putting the word out and got the hooks in the water looking for one.
Yes.
So what do we see happening here? Okay, so, yes. Okay, that looks good, actually. Okay, so something coming up soon. I'm seeing April as far as the time frame on this. Okay, so that's, we got to still
Okay.
get through the rest of March, probably around mid-April, 5 weeks from now. And it's something that you're like already, like you're already equipped to do it in a sense that it's not going to be like a big learning curve. It's not going to be something where you're like, gee, I don't know if I can do this. It's totally going to be something that you're quite capable of doing. So, and it looks good. And in the end here, we've got the Strength card, and I got the Emperor card too. And to me, that is really, those both cards are really good because the Emperor for me is like, okay, they gives us that sense of stability, a sense of structure as well. The kind of a sense of like, okay, it makes you feel like everything's in order now. I've got it together.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Let's see what Dax is getting.
I was having trouble with my mute button. I did. I was having trouble because I'm using this new setup where I'm going through Google Voice actually, and I have to jump over to the page with it on there to hit the mute button, and then sometimes you click, but it doesn't actually do anything, and you have to click again, and it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So the message I'm getting, it's looking really good because we end up with the Three of Cups. That's the celebration card. But it looks like the message is that the tarot wants you to take a step back from everything and really take a good look on what doing, really, not just applying for the next JOB kind of thing. And I got that something's coming up, but so the answer to your question, as far as like just straightforward yes, no, are you going to get something? Yeah. And I'm getting a 3 weeks in my timing, so it kind of fits in. I mean, that brings me into April, right around the same time as Mary was saying as far as the timing on this goes. But you're not going to, I get the feeling you're not going to stay at that position. I feel like it's going to be a temporary thing. And I think this has something to do with the message about taking a step back from the whole thing. It's almost like you're too close to it. It's like I need another JOB, and I'm doing some applying and so forth. And your headspace is, this is what I do. This is what I've always done. You're not thinking outside the box. You're so worried about like the next JOB as opposed to just stepping back from all of that and looking at the big picture. Is this even what I want to be doing anymore? I have other skills, or I've always wanted to do this, and so maybe this job comes through, but then you start working on something else in the background, and then that eventually takes over at some point where you end up doing something that is more fulfilling. I'm getting fulfilling for you. That's what you want to focus on. What makes your heart sing?
I can see that because there's something I want to do, and I can see that.
Yeah, you want to focus and work on what it is that you really want to do. Now, that doesn't mean you don't take the interim job. Of course, you take the interim job, but your focus should be on what you really want to end up doing. That's going to be a fulfilling experience, and especially if you're helping other people, that's golden right there, solving someone else's problem.
Okay.
There you go.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much. Blessings to you both. I appreciate that.
Enjoy
thanks
the rest
for calling.
Of the weekend, Kay.
Yeah.
And then let's see. We got time for one more call. It's area code 856. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, guys. How are you? It's Rosemaria from New Jersey.
Hi,
Rosemaria. I know that name.
How are you? It's been a while.
What do you want to talk about?
Whatever you can get. Still looking for a job and trying to get back on my feet, and a lot of chaos going on. I've been getting messages, and I don't know what to do next.
to sort of like, where am I going? What's going on?
If I'm staying here in the country or moving to a different one, so I'm not sure.
Right.
Okay. Interesting.
Whose turn is it? Is it you?
I can't remember.
I think it's you, Dex. I can't either. What?
You went second on the last call, so you're up next. You're up first.
Okay. Let's see what the cards have to say to Rosemary here. Okay. So all that stuff going on, messages, chaos. Is there a job? Look, it is a little chaotic right now, right? It's like kind of challenging, I guess, is one way I would describe it.
Right.
But I do think that things are going to start moving in a more I get the sense of like, okay, you're going to be able to manage things better going forward. As far as a job, there are some possibilities here. I get a lot of court cards that come up here. 3 out of 5 cards are court cards, right? So we've got the King of Cups, the Queen of Swords, and also the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is really the central card here, and it's really saying like, okay, let's get that clarity in our head, right? The Knight of Swords is great because it's like, okay, I can move forward, and I've got to have that idea, and I've got to follow through with it. So this is really saying, like, as much as you can, eliminate distractions so that you can really focus and prioritize what you need to get done in order to kind of get your life in the shape you want it to be in. Right now, it's like kind of chaotic, and it's almost like all these things coming at you at once, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm trying to move forward here, and it's like moving through quicksand or something. I think that is going to pass. I think in the next couple months, you're going to start feeling like, okay, I've got a real sense of direction I'm headed in. I think things will fall into place. So job, it being one of them, but it's really about getting that focus and like shutting out the noise, because it's like you got a lot of chaotic energy just sort of flying around you, maybe coming from other people, since we're seeing other people come up a lot in these cards. But yeah, I think things are going to start, like the clouds are going to start lifting. But it really comes down to like you being able to like just stay focused on what you want to do and prioritize. What do I have to get? What do I need to make happen in order to get my life where I want it to be? But let's see what Dax is getting.
This is very interesting. The tarot often tells us what we need to know right now versus what we're asking about. I'm not getting anything regarding the next J.O.B., Rosemaria. It's just the tarot's going, no. It's like, this is what you need to know. It's actually very similar to the last caller. In fact, one of the cards I got for the last caller, which was in the future position, the 3 of Cups, that celebration card, in your spread, it showed up first. Okay, so that's more like towards the past. So the cards are saying, look to the past, what it was or what it is that makes you happy. What do you celebrate? What do you enjoy? And then the main focus is the World card. Okay, and then after that, the Knight of Swords is rushing into the World card. Swords are thoughts and ideas, and he's got a single, as opposed to other cards in the deck, he has just the one sword, the one idea, and he's running with it, and he's zooming in towards the world. So what does that tell us? The World card says that really it's all open to you right now. Your problem is focus. Your problem is not the next J.O.B. Your problem is like the last caller, where you should be looking to the past. What makes me joyful? And how can I tie that in with I solve somebody else's problem? And that's how you're going to be really successful. And it may be working in an industry or working in a job. I don't think it is really. I think it's you doing your own thing. I think it's the entrepreneurial spirit is what I'm feeling. And really figuring that out. And yes, you may have to acquire new skills. You may not. You may already have the skills, but it could be a possibility. But in today's day and age, it is so easy to acquire the skills that you need to solve whatever problem that you're solving that has to do somehow with something from your past where it's what makes your heart sing, okay? So you want to look at, okay, what problem do I solve in relation to something? You know, first you have to find out what it is that really makes you excited, makes you celebrate, and then go, okay, what's a problem that's involved in that, you know? Let's say, and this has nothing to do with you, Rosemaria, but I'm just going to throw out an example so people can kind of figure out what I'm talking about here. So your favorite thing in the world is golfing. You love golfing. Okay, what's a problem with golfing? Oh, okay, some people have problem with chip shots. Okay, how can I solve that problem for people? I may have to acquire additional skills in order to do that, but I go and get the skills, and now I'm the go-to person that helps everybody fix their chip shot, you know, or their drive, or, you know, or whatever it is. I don't know anything about golf, so I'm just throwing terms out that I have no clue what I'm saying. But you get the idea. It's like you got to get that idea first. You got to look to the past. What makes you excited? It could be music. It could be some kind of art. It could be anything. Technology gets you excited, you know. And then you're going to figure out how you're going to solve a big problem. The bigger the problem, the more value it has. The bigger the problem that you can solve for somebody, the more you can charge, you know. And then you're going to figure out, how do I solve that problem? Do I need additional skills? Okay, I'm going to go on Udemy and I'm going to spend $12 and I'm going to take this course on this, and I'm going to spend $19 and $10 over here and take a course on this and a course on this. You're going to get the skills you need, you know, where you can solve this problem. It's not about finding the next job. It's finding out how you could be of service and create value for other people. That's what the cards are saying. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Cool. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thanks so much for calling.
Yeah, take a look at that and give us a call back.
Let us know how it
what you
goes.
come up with. Yeah, so your homework is, what is it that makes my heart sing? And if you get stuck there, call back in. We'll pull more cards and see if we can get you going.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get stuck there, we'll work on that one. Because that's important to know.
Right.
Cool.
So enjoy the rest of your weekend, Rosemaria. Boy, this was a great show. I'm so excited. I got the Tarot Grand Luck in my hands. I got the shrink wrap on it here, you know. I'm so excited. New deck.
That new deck feeling.
I know. I hope I like it because, you know, I need another new kind of go-to deck. You know, my go-to deck's been Legacy of the Divine Tarot. Also I've been using that since it came out. So 11 years or something, you know. And the deck is getting really, you know, in bad shape. And I only use physical decks, as I've said many times on the show, for in-person readings. Although, you know, now that we're doing more video, I think I'm going to have to start actually pulling cards from decks, Mary. So that's why I wanted to get, you know, some new decks, you know, and something that looks really pretty that I can use with clients and also for our videos. And
it's gorgeous. I'm not going to try to spoil it. Yeah, I want you to have that shrink wrap opening experience. But yeah, I can't imagine. It's a great deck. It really is.
Awesome. So everybody, don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Magic Universe with our fabulous Sharona Rapsik. And actually, let me look here. So she's having Scott Martin on, which is going to be great. Bringing the Tarot to Life. I don't have that book. I should get that book. And I wanted to mention, of course, we'll be back next Saturday. Lisa Robertson, right? Cirque du Tarot.
Yes. Cirque du Tarot, and I did a review of Lisa's deck. It's in our video section on the Tarot Guild site if everybody wants to look at that and see what we're talking about. It's really a unique deck, and that'll be fun to talk to her about that. It's really a fun deck.
So they could go over
based
to
on the circus.
thetarotguild.com, and in that search bar that we said, search Somnia to see Nicholas's images. You can put Cirque in there, and search, and you'll get the review will pop up. You can also scroll through all the videos in the video section, but it's just easier if you do a search.
Yep.
Awesome sauce. Alrighty, so we'll be seeing you soon. I'll be back on Monday, actually, for our live. If you're not in the Facebook group, 6,800 members, the Tarot Guild Facebook out and join, and then you'll know when we're live. It's going to be, I think it's at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be Sharona and me.
Awesome. On Tuesday?
On Tuesday, yeah.
Excellent. Awesome sauce.
Looking forward to that. Bye, everybody. So goodbye, Mary.
Bye, Dax. Bye, everybody. Happy Psychic Saturday.
Happy Psychic Saturday. Good night, Mary Ellen.
Good night, John Boy.